Thanks One-to-One for the opportunity to present. I'm the Managing Director of Blackstone Minerals. Today we're going to be talking about the Ta Qua nickel project in northern Vietnam. And with that asset, which we acquired approximately 6 months ago, we are very well positioned to meet demand from Asia's growing lithium-ion industry. 12 months ago, we were a cobalt explorer in Canada, and through that process of exploring for cobalt, we've created some great relationships with the battery end users, particularly in South Korea. And through that relationship, we were, I suppose, given a bit of a head start on the market, as far as they were very clear to us that they were increasing nickel and reducing cobalt. And through that relationship, we looked all around the world for a nickel sulfide asset, and we've landed very close by to Hong Kong, actually, down in Vietnam, and it's the Ta Qua nickel project. So we have a portfolio of battery and precious metals assets across the globe, but at the moment our flagship asset is very much focused on nickel sulfide in Vietnam. There's a quick snapshot of those different projects. Today we'll just focus on the Ta Qua nickel project. So the Ban Phuc nickel mine, which was operated between 2013 and 2016, was operated by a group called Asian Mineral Resources, and that was during some of the most difficult or lowest nickel prices we've seen in the last 10 years. It was operated and built to an Australian standard. So this is a mine that has been built as if it was in Australia. There's a 450,000 tonne per annum concentrator, generated over $200 million of revenue. Most importantly for Blackstone, over $130 million of capital infrastructure is in place. So that's $130 million we don't need to find, and we can leverage off and build on. The government were paid $65 million over that period of 3.5 years. So since acquiring the asset, we've had a very good response from the government, and I suppose the focus is on bringing this mine back into production over the coming years. We've got the BC Cobalt projects in Canada. We've still got 48 kilometres of cobalt potential in the Braylon district, which is 6 hours north of Vancouver. And we've got some good nickel and gold assets just to the north of Kalgoorlie as well. And in the Pilbara we also have gold. So we have a broad portfolio across the globe of precious metals as well as battery metals. Corporate snapshot, 190 million shares on issue, about a $25 million market cap. We just raised $5 million from the Australian market, so we're on the Australian Stock Exchange, ASX code BSX. We have board and management with a very strong position of 17%. The Deutsche Balaton has been a very supportive shareholder out of Germany. You can see in the share price chart that the acquisition of the Ta Qua nickel project has been very well received, and well timed also, with the nickel price also appreciating over the last 3 to 6 months. Board and management team, so the key players here being Hamish Halliday and Steve Parsons. Steve's also at the event today. He's running a company called Bellevue Gold Limited. Bellevue is a great example of what this team has done before and will do again. So Bellevue was about a $5 million market cap when Steve got involved, and today it's about a $300 million company. Hamish Halliday, his business partner, is the chairman, and he did a similar thing with a group called Adamus. Steve has done it in the past with a group called Griffin Minerals. So there's this history of major minerals discoveries and then creating shareholder wealth and corporate success through takeovers or moving projects forward into production. So we've got a very technical board. My background's underground mining as an engineer back in Kalgoorlie, and then I spent a bit of time on the dark side as a mining analyst, and so know a little bit about the capital markets and I suppose raising capital through the Australian Stock Exchange. So you can see there we've got a symbol, we've got the LG Chem symbol there. The LG are building a $2 billion battery factory near Haiphong. Haiphong being the port city, which is where the concentrate used to be shipped for this asset. So there's a nickel concentrate that was delivered out of Haiphong into China, we believe that we can upgrade the concentrate to a nickel sulfate and then deliver into the battery industry, the major players in the battery industry being South Korea, Japan and China. LG Chem are looking at a joint venture with VinFast, which is their local conglomerate that are looking to build electric vehicles and electric scooters. So all of this great work happening just down the road at Haiphong and 350 kilometres from the Tarkwa nickel project. So we've got a very strong position. We've got over 150 kilometres squared of exploration ground that needs to be explored. We've got a 450,000 tonne per annum concentrator, 250 person camp, a modern day mechanised underground mine. Most importantly, we've got a local partner. So there's a local group called Cosima that's a Sonla conglomerate. So the Sonla province is the region that the mine operates. And the 10% local partner is a very important part of the mine going forward. So this is a particular type of geology known as the magmatic nickel sulfide. It's a major rift zone that goes into China. So you can see there, as you hit the border with China, there's nickel mines all through this belt. We believe that there's potential for a number of more nickel mines through the Vietnam side on the other of the border, and we believe that with further modern exploration, there'll be more nickel mines discovered through this region. It's the same type of geology as the Jinchuan and Norilsk mines. So the Jinchuan being the Chinese, very large Chinese mine, and Norilsk in Russia. So these are some of the largest nickel mines in the world, and some of the best geology we're looking for nickel sulfides. Here's a snapshot of some of the infrastructure. We've got a modern day underground mine, 250 person camp, very good recoveries previously through this concentrator. And we will look to upgrade the concentrator to increase throughput. We are targeting a different type of ore body, and this concentrator will be scaled up. We're looking at some of the lowest operating costs you'll see anywhere in the world. So we've got low labour costs, hydro grid power, 25% lower operating costs than an equivalent mine in Australia or Canada. And this is included a tariff on concentrate, which we will potentially reduce or remove through downstream processing. This is the nickel price over the last 10 years, and what we're showing here is that nickel sulfides will work in any nickel price environment. So these are the actual costs when the mine was operating. This is with the cobalt and copper credit. You can see the cash costs were always lower than the nickel price. The mine was shut in some of the lowest nickel prices we've seen in the last 10 years. Unfortunately for the previous owners, the nickel price fell during the period of the 3.5 years when this was operating. During that period, the mine wasn't explored and there was no exploration conducted to then find the remaining or extend the mine life. So this is what it looks on a geology. We've got the central concentrator around the main Ban Phuc ore body, and then 25 massive sulfide vein targets throughout the district. So the previous mine mined this massive sulfide vein, which is about 2 to 3 metres wide. We're looking at this unmined body. It's 1.5 kilometres by 500 metres. This is a much larger, disseminated, lower grade system, but this is what we believe can deliver a long mine life and justify the downstream processing. This is what it looks like on a cross section. So the previous mine mined this vein all the way down to 400 metres. And have left behind what is a very large disseminated body right next to it. Through our assays, we're also getting a significant platinum and palladium and gold credit. This is a game changer. We believe that this credit could cover a lot of the operating costs, and these are metals that weren't assayed by the previous owners. This is the first ever IP survey that's conducted at this project, and what you can see is outside of the main ore body, we've got some very large, high chargeability targets that will potentially be further disseminated nickel sulfide or massive sulfide targets. Just on the downstream processing, we're looking at a process that can change the concentrate through a pressure oxidation autoclave into a nickel sulfate. This is the flow sheet that's being used by Independence Group, which is Australia's largest nickel miner. what we'll see is more and more nickel miners will start to use this process to go directly to nickel sulfate and increase payabilities. So we've got an international portfolio of battery and precious metals throughout the globe. We've got the Tarkwine Nickel Project, which has been operated and built to an Australian standard. We're in a premier nickel sulfide district. This is a magmatic nickel sulfide system which could uncover a globally significant nickel sulfide ore body. We've got some great projects in British Columbia where we think we may have a cobalt belt full of potential. Most importantly, we've got a broader management team that have done this before. We're doing it again, when we acquired the Tarkwine Nickel Project, we had a market cap of $6 million. Today we're about $25 to $30 million. And we're only 6 months into this journey. I think there's a 10 to 20 year mine to be made in Vietnam, and we'll then I think we'll see some significant share price increase as we deliver that mine. Thank you.